Good morning. Hey, I wanted to take a few minutes today and show you the conference feature inside of Schoology. Conference feature is a web video conferencing feature that we've added to Schoology so that you can see your students and their students can see you if you so choose to do online education. Now there's a lot of ways to do this, and we know that every student doesn't have internet access, so there's not one solution that's going to fit perfectly for everything. But I know a lot of you are planning on using online resources, so this is just another avenue that you can take to help with that online education. So again, not perfect for everybody, but I like this feature. I think it's going to be really nice for you, so I want to show you how to use it. So to get started, the first thing we need to do is launch Schoology. And to do that, we're going to open up a web browser. You can use any browser you want. I'm going to go ahead and use Safari, but you can use Firefox, Chrome. If you're on Windows, you can use Microsoft Edge, Opera, any other browser you want. They all work with Schoology. You shouldn't have an issue at all. So I'm going to launch Safari, and by default it's going to bring us to our BU Schools webpage, at least on my computer. Now yours may take you somewhere else. What you need to do is go to www.buschools.com, launch that, and then you can gain access to Schoology from either the staff section or the student section. You'll see Schoology is listed under both. Now, if you are watching this video and you are not a Burn Union employee, you will probably need to go to wherever your school points out, or if you're a free user, just go to Schoology.com. But for Burn Union employees, we need to make sure we're going to this link because we have a very, very different website that we go to. So I'm going to click on Schoology, and when I do, you're going to notice it pops up our Schoology access. It's going to ask us to log in with our Google account. Okay, so this is your school issued email address and your school issued email password. Actually, you should have changed it by now, hopefully, fingers crossed. You've changed it to something that you want. So this is your school email address and password. If you've never signed in, it's going to ask you to fill out that information. Since I have signed in before, I'm just going to go ahead and click on my name. Once that's done, we're going to be brought to the Schoology homepage. Okay, this is, if you're not familiar with Schoology yet, this is where all of your comments that are being sent back and forth in your classes will show up. It's kind of like a quick, easy feed. You'll notice mine's set on recent activity. There's also a course dashboard which shows you your actual courses. And that's what we need to do now, is we need to actually get into a course. Now, for the purpose of this video, I've created this tech tutorials class. This is not a real class, but I needed to set it up so that I could see a course like you would as a teacher, so I could show you exactly what's going on here. Okay, so this is a fake course. Now, again, you can get there from course dashboard, or you can go up to courses and select the course that you want. So inside of my tech tutorials class, by default, my course is set to show up as materials. This is where each of the students will log in. This is the first thing that shows up. Now you can change this, and some of your courses will go to updates first. And this is where I actually want to start. Before I jump into the conference section, I want to answer just a couple quick questions about what this is and what I can do with this updates. So this updates section here is a quick note to the kids, or quick information, instructional information to the kids. And it works with this WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get, which means I can go in here and type something. This is a test. Actually, let's type something a little bit more meaningful, because I always type this is a test in videos or something stupid like that. Let's actually type in something more meaningful. And in this case, we're going to tell the students in this course that we're going to have a face-to-face web conference. So we're going to say we will oops, wrong button. Okay, so right there, I'm going to say we will have a web conference tomorrow at 10 a.m. All right, this is just a post to let students know that there's going to be a web conference tomorrow. Now I can highlight this or actually if I want, let's go ahead and highlight this whole section here. Let's make this underlined and bold. Okay, notice we've got some formatting features up here. Most of you at this point in time are pretty familiar with this, and we've even used this insert content. I can insert a web link like to a video or something like that, symbols or equations for math if I want to in here. Okay, so we can actually just go ahead and click this and we can post it. Instantly it pops up on my student screens. It says this is a web conference tomorrow at 10 a.m. Alright, so this is quick post-it notes. Now there's a lot of things we can do with these post-it notes. Down at the bottom here there's several options we have. One is to insert a file. I'm going to come back to this in a second because I'm going to talk to you about something you can do with that file link. The next one's to insert a link. So this we could embed video from say YouTube or something like that. Go ahead and type in a title for the video, gummy bear. Paste that link and it would actually attach the video inside of here, which is great if you have a video up on YouTube or somewhere else that you want to share with the kids. They can open it right inside Schoology without going outside to YouTube. Next section is a resource. It will load your resource screen here and you can import videos from there. This one is audio and video recording. This is the one that I wanted to spend a little bit of time on. Several of you have asked me, how can I send out an audio message or a video message to my class? Okay, this is one thing that a lot of us overlook. I know a few people have used it, but most of us haven't. And I'm going to show you this feature with giving a little bit of information here. Mine's not going to work perfect, but it's because I'm already recording this session for you, so double recording becomes kind of finicky, but this will work on your side. So I'm going to click on audio video recording, and notice I get this pop-up window here that says, what do you want to do? Do you want to record with audio, and this is audio only, or do you want to do video and audio? Well, let's imagine for a second that I don't want to send a video of myself and I just want to send audio over to my students. I can go ahead and click audio, and a box is going to pop up. Now, two things about this box. One, this is asking for permission to use the camera and microphone. Well, this is audio only. It's not going to use the camera, but I do have to say allow in order for this to work. The second thing is, you'll notice right here at the top it says Adobe Flash Player. Well, if you remember right, I said Flash is going away. It is not going to work. It's okay for now. This will actually work in your classes, but please keep in mind it will go away. Schoology's already in the process of getting rid of Flash Player, so this is something that will be fixed. I have tested it and it does work, but this is for sure something that Schoology does need to change because it will be gone soon. Anyways, we would just click allow here and then click the close button. Now, you'll notice I'm going to try to click and I can't. The reason I can't is I'm already recording. I did this before I recorded and this worked fine, but in this case, because I'm recording, it's not going to let me record twice. I can get around this by just clicking the tab button a couple times, and when I get to close, I can click enter, return. That will close the box. Okay, now I get this recording section here. All I have to do is click the record button to start recording. I'm not going to do that because there's another glitch. Again, like I said, I'm already recording. That's what this button up here is. And you see it's red. It's letting me know that I'm recording. So if I record again, it's going to stop me in this kind of endless loop where I won't be able to get out. But if I hit the record button, it's just going to start recording the audio for me. You'll notice over here there's this bar. It's kind of hard to see. This will bounce with a green line. Let me know it's recording my volume. Once I'm done, I click the record button again, which will be more like a stop button. And then I just click insert. That will actually put that link right down here so that if I hit post, it's going to post that audio link to my students. Okay, the video recording is the exact same. You just go to video audio. You're going to get the same message. We're going to click close. Again, mine's not going to work, so I'm going to hit the tab button here. It's not working. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel there so I can get out. Anyways, I would hit the close button, do the exact same thing. It's the same record button, and actually I'll go back in here real quick just to show you that. It's the same record button that's down here. You get the same volume bar. You hit record. Once you're done, you go ahead and hit stop and then hit insert. It will insert that video for you underneath your post so you can actually post it. Now, a couple things about that post. It's going to be a FLV or a flash video file that's going to save. Again, Flash is not great. I wish they would change that quicker than they have, but they're working on it. But it will save. Now, each time you record this video, it will save only to this section here. If you want to copy it to other sections or other courses, you need to click on that video. It will download it to your computer. It'll put down the downloads file, which I don't know. I have one right here. Okay, so there's my test flash. I would then have to upload that to my resources section by clicking add file. So I could go to resources and then go here and then say add a file. And then I could add the attachment, which would be my downloads folder and then whatever that was called, test. So I'm going to go down here and find my test file, upload it. Now that file will be eligible if I click add. This file I can add to all of my courses, okay? Just by going into my courses, and I can go into updates. If I wanted to do it in the update section, I could add a file directly, which would be from my computer, or I could go to this resources. Since I've added it, just click this file and say attach, and all of a sudden that file is there. So I can download that video and share it to all my classes. That is completely possible. The other option you have, which this works, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but it does work. The other option you have is to save a video from your phone. So you can AirDrop it on your Mac, or if you have an Android device, you can plug in your device and copy it over to your computer. Then upload that file to your resources section, just like I did this one. And you can share that to your classes. That might be a little bit better quality, but one thing to keep in mind, if you're going to do that, if I go to add file, notice there's a maximum file size here of 512 meg. That's a fairly small file for most videos. Thinking your phones are now capable of recording in high definition, those files are going to get very, very large very, very quickly. If you have a question on how to shrink those files, I can answer those. We can just export them using QuickTime or VLC player. One of those ways to actually reduce the file size, but just keep that in mind that if it's larger than 512 meg, it's going to go ahead and give you an error here. It's not going to let you do it. So anyways, I'm going to hit cancel, jump back to my course. That is how you can quickly share a video or audio file inside of Schoology. Okay? All right. Now, to get to the bulk of what I wanted to talk to you about today is conferences. All right? So, to launch a conference for your class or a video chat, basically, you're just going to simply come over here to conferences and click on it. You're going to launch, once you click on it, it's going to launch this conferences interface here. Okay? It's very, very simplistic. You have active conferences, and we have no active ones, a completed conference, which I'll show you shortly, and then create new conference. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to create a new conference now. When you click create new conference, you're going to get the new conference dialog box that pops up. We have to, if you notice it's in pink here, we have to give our conference a name. Now, this system doesn't care what you name it, but it does require you to name it something. So this will be our first online meeting. Okay, so this conference name is first online meeting. This helps us keep track of what our conferences were about. You can also add a start time and date. If you click on this box right here, you're going to get a calendar where we can choose a date. You can also enter a time. If you want, you can choose an end time. Now, these two sections are optional, and just to show you that they're optional, I'm going to leave these blank. Now, again, you can put one in. This helps people know when things are happening. So if I was to say it's going to happen on the 24th, it's going to throw that in there. But I just want to show you that this doesn't have to be in there. So I'm going to go ahead and click Create. Okay, so notice it now says my first online meeting. Since I did not add a date and time for start time, it's using the current time. If you're wondering why I said good morning at the beginning of this video, it's because it is before 12 o'clock, so I didn't want to say good afternoon yet. So this is the start time because I didn't enter one. If I had entered one, that's what would appear. There is no end time because, again, I did not enter one. And the status is not started. If you look at any of this information, you find out that it's wrong or you don't like it, you can come over here to this gear icon, click on it, and you'll see that there's an edit button, which just takes you back to this opening screen. So maybe we don't want this to start at 11. We want this to start at 12:01 p.m. Okay, so let's just save that change there. Now it actually lists the updated time. That doesn't mean I can't start till then. That's just what time I'm telling people that this conference is going to start. When I actually want to start the conference, I just click Start Conference. I'm going to do that now, so we'll run through the interface. All right, now that we've launched our first conference, it's going to ask us a question. How do you want to use your audio? Do you want to just listen? Since I'm the presenter, that's not a great option. Microphone, it's going to use my camera or my computer's built-in microphone, or I can call in and use a phone. In this case, I'm just going to use the camera microphone. Actually, since I'm recording this, let me not use the microphone because I don't want to cause well, I'm going to use it anyways. We're going to click on microphone. Hopefully we won't get an echo. If we do, I'll just change it as we go. Alright, so I chose that I want to use the microphone. It's now going to ask me if that's okay. We'll say allow. And we're going to get echo test. The echo test is it's going to test to make sure I got sound and adjust for any kind of echo in the room. There you go. So you hear me probably twice.
You are currently the only person in this conference.
So I heard my voice, so I went ahead and said yes. It's going to give me an announcement saying, hey, I'm the only person here. And you'll see down here in the bottom, I have a speaker flashing. That's just letting me know I am talking right now. I'm going to mute this just to show you how to mute it.
You are now muted.
Alright, so I've got a voice feedback here. I don't know if you can hear this on the video or not because I haven't watched it yet. I'm still making it, but I've got a voice feedback on here that tells me I'm muted. Okay, so this is the conference interface. Okay, and I'm going to walk through everything. First, let me start over on the left and go through what these options are. That way I can get them out of the way and you can we'll focus on this second. The first section is a public chat. So a public chat is this. I'm going to go in and I'm going to type something. I'm going to say hello. And just like any other chat that you've ever used or messaging you've ever used, it's going to pop up on the screen. And when it does, then everybody in the class is going to see that chat message. So this is messaging if you want the kids to be muted or if you're muted yourself. The next section is called shared notes. Now, this section is a little bit more confusing to me, and I'll tell you what I think you can use it for. Maybe you'll come up with something a little bit better than what I've come up with. But basically, shared notes and public chat are essentially the same thing. So I'm going to go over here right now. I'm going to type a note. This is a okay. So I wrote this is a broadcast for you to learn English, which is funny because if you are an English teacher, I have probably said or done things 100 times in this video that are completely wrong. I know I have a problem with saying and over and over again. See, I just did it again. But, this is a note section. So you can actually click here and you can import or export notes into plain text or whatever, but you can also copy and paste some stuff in here if you want. These are notes that you're going to share to your class. Now, here's where I think it gets a little funny. This shared notes section, like it says shared, your class can also write on this notes page. So anybody taking notes can fill it out here. Okay, they can export it when done. I think that's probably the biggest feature is they can export it, but you can put in notes for your class. So maybe if you're going to do a presentation, you can fill out this whole shared notes section for the students so they can copy and paste it off their computer. The downside is, again, like I said, anybody can mess with it. I don't really like that feature because if I've taken the time to write in all of my notes and someone goes in and deletes it, then I have to put the notes back in. Okay, but that is shared notes. So you've got your normal strike throughs, bold, italicize, underline, bullet points. Okay, all those things are still here. Edit, undo, redo. Okay, so that's shared notes. The next section you have is the users, and you can actually click on these users and you can set status for them. Okay, or you can mute or unmute users. There's also this gear icon up top, which is allows you to do things with the bulk user group, everybody in the class. Okay, so we can clear all their status icons. We can mute them all, mute everybody except for the presenter, which is me. Typically, you don't want to mute yourself, but maybe you do. Save usernames. Not sure why you would want to do that. Lock viewers. Create breakout rooms. This is a nice feature we'll come back to and talk about. And then write closed captioning. Now, closed captioning, if you click on this, it's going to add it to your video. Keep in mind, you actually have to write the closed captioning. You have to write what you're going to say. So I don't figure many of you will actually use the closed captioning. Okay, but this is what this section over here does. Now you notice right now that I am the only person in this classroom, so let's go ahead and correct that. I'm going to slide over to another screen and I'm going to go, so now I'm set up as a student. You'll see I've got a notification here, what's going on. If I click update, I can actually type and update myself. But if I go to my courses section and I launch this tech tutorial class, and I go down to updates, you'll notice I see my announcement from my web conference. If I go to conferences, you'll see I have the meetings here. It tells me the start time, which I know it's not that time yet, but you'll notice it says in progress. Well, I can go ahead and click on the meeting. It's going to ask me the exact same thing as it did when I set up as an administrator or as a teacher. How do you want to join? This time I'll just say listen only. And now I'm in the session. You'll see I've got me, and then there's the presenter who is showing as muted. They're also showing us sharing a slideshow, and you see I see the same thing that's on this screen. Okay, so now I have a student in the class and I have myself in the class. All right. If there's no questions about that, and if there are, guess what? You can't tell them to me anyways because this is a pre-recorded video. I'm going to go ahead and move over to this section over here. So we'll just work our way kind of around the screen. Okay. First thing I want to show you is this button here, this person button. Now, if I click on this, it's going to take away that side menu that you just saw. So this messages and things, if this is distracting, you can click there and that's going to get rid of it. So now I'm focused only on my presentation. Okay. This button up top is a recording button. This will allow me to record my presentation for future viewing. So if I wanted to record this, I could go ahead and click start recording. It's going to say, do you want to record it? And say if you want to pause it, just click it again. So we'll say yes. You'll notice I get a timer that starts counting down saying that the session's been recorded. Okay. If I want to stop this recording, I'll pause it. But I want to show you something that happens when you record a session so you don't freak out the first time it happens to you. So we're just going to leave this recording. If I go over to the options screen, you'll notice I got a make full screen button here, which just makes everything full screen. You can click up here again and click that same button. Okay, so it took a second hit for that to work, but that's what make full screen does. So if I wanted to get rid of everything else and just jump this to full screen mode, you'll notice now I'm in full screen mode. I can still toggle my list over here, but now I'm in full screen mode. Okay, this button over here is your tool section. We'll get to the hand here in a minute, but we've got a pen tool. So as soon as I click on that, you'll notice I've got options here on the thickness. I've got a color option here, so maybe I want to make this, let's make it black. And we can come over here and actually draw on the document. Down here you've got an undo animation and then delete all animations. So I can just do several animations. If I undo it, you'll notice it does it one at a time. If I delete all, it deletes all. You've got some shape icons where you can just draw out shapes. Okay, and then you have text. Now the text tool is a little different. You have to draw a text box and then you can type into it. Now it's going to use your fonts over here. You notice they kind of change here. So we can use different size fonts. I'm going to use this one. I'm going to change my color of my text to blue so it kind of blends in a little bit. And then I will just, again, draw out a box and then just start typing. Don't click inside the box or else the box kind of goes away. We'll just start typing. This is a test. Okay. Now, you notice I've got this annoying white box around everything. That won't stay. If I actually just click off the text icon to something else, the box disappears and the text stays behind. So now at this point, if I was to go in here and change my color, I could go in and keep working with the document. Again, I'm going to clear all the animations. This bottom button, I'm going to come back to and explain what this is in just a second. But first, I want to go back and show you what this hand tool does. So down at the bottom of the screen, you've got a couple options. One is zoom in, zoom out. I can't zoom out anymore because I'm already at 100%, but I can go ahead and zoom in. And that's where this hand tool comes in. If I go ahead and zoom in, I can actually click and pan and drag around the screen. I can then zoom back out. And notice if I do that, the hand button does nothing. Okay? I can also fit this to width. Click it again and it will go back to normal, or make the presentation full screen, which does the same thing that this one up here does. It makes the presentation completely full screen. Okay, alright, so over here is this multi-user whiteboard. So what this does is, notice I'm going to flip to a student screen. Notice this screen here, see how it has the toolbar on it? That's because at some point I've actually hit this button. So you see how it says turn it off? If I turn this off, which is the default method, there's no toolbar. They see the red dot, and that red dot lines up my cursor. So if, let me delete that one. A red dot will line up. So if my cursor's here, notice I've got a red dot there. I actually had two red dots on the screen. So if I come over here, notice my cursor. This will, as I move around the screen on the student view, the student's going to watch me travel across the screen with my cursor. Okay, so that's what that red dot is on the student view. If I click this button on here, turn multi-user whiteboard on, you notice I get two squares. That's letting me know that now the students have a toolbar. So now they can actually go on here, they can click a color, and they can actually say, hey, I'm having a problem with this section. And they can actually kind of draw on the topic. So it's not just you listening to the students or talking to the students. They can actually draw and interact with that same whiteboard with that on. When you don't want them to do that again, you can go ahead and click that off. Now, here's something to note. Notice I've got a red pin here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn this back on, and I've given my students a green pin, so I'm going to circle again. On my screen, if I turn off the student whiteboard, That does not clear their annotations. Okay, it doesn't. That only turns it off so they can't make any more annotations. To clear it, I would still need to step backwards because it counts their writing separate from yours. So you notice it actually deleted their green circle, not my red, even though I did my red last here. Or you can clear all annotations altogether. Okay, so that's what that button does. The final couple buttons that we have down here I want to show you real quick. One, you've got a slide button, so I can skip to specific slides. Now it doesn't matter if this is a PowerPoint, a PDF, or whatever. If there's multiple pages, it's going to treat each one separate. I can select multiple slides here, or I can use these arrows to bounce back and forth. And this is another important thing to note. Notice on this is like a PDF document. If I wanted a whiteboard, notice this says turn multi-user whiteboard on. Notice I don't really have a whiteboard. It just turns on a toolbar for the students. If I want a whiteboard that I can write on, you need to do basically what they did. You just put in a white slide or a white page. That way you can go in and use that as your whiteboard. Okay. I wish there was a button here that just turned the whole screen white so I could use it, but there isn't. So this is a workaround. You can insert a blank page to go ahead and use as a whiteboard. Okay. This button right here will share my webcam feed. So get ready. I'm going to say allow. It's going to ask me if I can use it. Notice it jumped to a different screen because I'm in full screen mode still. All right. Good morning. Oh man, I look good this morning. Okay. Anyways, notice you got a couple options here. FaceTime HD camera. Now I don't know which way to cock my head. Every time I move my head, I feel like I'm going the wrong way. You've got this FaceTime HD camera. This is the camera built into your laptop. So if you're one of those teachers that has put a sticky note on top of your laptop, you're going to have to remove it if you want to use your camera. Then you have a quality. There is a lot of stuff here. High definition, high quality, medium quality. What I will tell you is, unless you're getting rid of all your presentations, these are going to be fairly small. Keep in mind, students have small Chromebooks anyways. I would just leave it at low quality because some of your internets may be slower. Now, if you're doing it from the school or somewhere that has fast internet, you can raise this quality. But again, I have 400 meg internet at home, and I don't really see a reason to go any higher. So I just leave them at low quality and click Start Sharing. When you click Start Sharing, you'll notice that in a few seconds, your video pops up on the screen. Okay, now I'm still muted. That's what this red icon means. So the students can't actually hear me. I need to unmute myself. Otherwise, they just see a talking head in a video. But I could do that just by coming down here and clicking on
You are now unmuted.
unmute button.
You are now muted.
Okay, I got myself muted so you don't hear that weird echo. But now the students, when I go over to their screen, you will see that they can now see me talking, which is nice because I've taken online college courses where I can't tell you what my professor looks like. So this gives you a little bit of a way to face-to-face interact with people. The students can do the same thing. Down at the bottom of the screen, they have a share webcam. They can click on it. It's going to say, do you want to allow this? Yeah, sure. Then you notice in Chrome it was a little bit different pop-up, but same exact settings. You get the same camera set up, and I'll just click Start Sharing. And that's right, you can't get too much of a good thing, except for now both my heads bobble. Okay, so notice that I've got a little bit of delay on the presenters. It's not bad. I mean, it's really actually pretty good. But on the presenter screen, I can actually see the same thing. Now I've got this bright glow on my head. That's coming from the window and some other things in my house that I've got set up. So this image is actually reversed. It's a mirrored image. So this is actually the sunlight coming through the window that I'm sitting right next to. Okay, enough of me. Let me get myself off the screen just by clicking on the icon down here for the webcam. I will do the same thing on the student side. And now you can open your eyes again. All right. The middle button is to leave the audio session. This is if I don't want to talk anymore. I don't want anybody to hear me or anything. Again, you got the mute option, so that's what that's for. Not a big deal. And now here is a plus button. Okay, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and stop this video. I'm going to go ahead and click yes, pause the recording. And I'm going to go ahead and go to actions. And you'll notice I've got a few different options here. The first is to start a poll. So this is a verbal poll. So this is where me as an instructor is asking the students a question. Maybe I have it pulled up on a slideshow. That's very, very possible. I could have a slideshow that says, hey, which of these three do you think is the best? Chocolate, pizza, or candy bars, ABC. Or I might say, do you think that, I don't know, Harry Potter was right for killing Dumbledore? Okay, he didn't actually do that, but let's say that was the question I want to ask. I could click on Start Poll, and I could say, yeah, this is a yes/no question, A, B, C, D, ABC, whatever I wanted. I could even do a custom poll. But let's say I asked him if it was right that Harry Potter killed Dumbledore. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes/no question. You'll notice I get a poll with a response. Now it's waiting for a response from one person. I'm going to flip over here, and on my screen they'll say, oh, polling options, yes or no. So I'll say yes. And when I do that, on the teacher's side, you'll notice I get the response with the student name, and it gives me a breakdown of exactly what the answers were. So this is a way to do a live poll of your class asking questions. This is very, very simple, very easy to do. Okay, I'm going to close this out. The other option is upload a presentation. Now I'm going to go ahead and click this, and you notice I've got this drag and drop option here. So I can drag and drop just from my computer right on top of here to upload a file, or I can browse for the file. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to go ahead and browse for a file. And in this case, I will use a, let's see what I got here. Let's grab this PDF, and I'll click choose. Okay, I'm going to go back to my full screen mode here. And you see that it says to be uploaded. All right, this file is not yet uploaded. I have to click the upload document. Now, also keep in note this section up here. You have the ability to upload any Office document or PDF file. They recommend PDFs, but you can upload any of those Office documents. Okay. Once you're done and you've got your file here, you click upload. Now, here's what I'm going to kind of tell you. This uploading can take some time, especially if it's a large document, like a very large PDF. Now, notice in this case, it was really, really quick. But if you're going to put up a very large PDF with a lot of things on it, you might want to do it before your actual class starts. That way it's already uploaded. Okay? That might be an option here. We can go in and we can go ahead and upload another presentation. Let's just do that. Let's do a W9 PDF. We need to teach them about taxes. I have no idea why I did that. All right, so I've got my W9 PDF here. I'm going to go ahead and click upload. All right, so here's my W9. You notice I can go through the slides and I can view everything. I've got my quick poll option here, but I can always go back to upload a presentation. I can click on these checkboxes to say which presentation I want to show once they're all uploaded. So again, remember what I said, you might want to do this beforehand. You can come back in here and say, I want to show this one, hit confirm, and immediately on the student screen it pops up with the correct slideshow. Okay, so that's how I upload a document. You can also share an external video. Now, by external video, this means like YouTube, Vimeo, Twitch, Dailymotion. All you gotta do is copy and paste the URL or the address from the address bar in there, and then you can share the video with the class. So you can watch group videos as well. Okay, so that's these options here. All right, so you notice I've got the recording paused right now. I could always click on it and start it back up again if I wanted to start recording this video. And then I can always pause it again once I'm done. Okay. All right, so that's pretty much it for conferences. The last thing to show you is how to end these things. If you click on these three dots over here. You got two options down here at the very, very bottom. One is end meeting. This means the conference is done. I'm not doing anything else with this conference. I am ending it. The session's closed. The other is log out. Log out is nice if I'm doing this. I'm uploading documents before the meeting actually starts. I can log this out and not actually end that session. Because if I click end meeting, which I'm going to do right now, I'm going to click end meeting. It's going to say yes. It's going to ask me to rate it. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say okay. You notice I'm back to my Schoology screen. If I go back down to conferences again, the conference is gone. When you end the conference disappears completely. Now if I go to completed conferences, you'll notice here is my conference. Now here's a problem. You'll see that it says no recordings found for this conference. That's because when you finish a recording, it's actually going to upload that to the server, compress the video, change it, and then come back and load it. So then you'll have this play button, okay, where students can go in and they can watch the video for up to 7 days. This can take anywhere from a few minutes to an hour or more to actually complete. Typically I've noticed within about 15 minutes the videos are up there, but if you're doing a really long presentation, then it might take a little bit longer. Okay, so this is how they would watch the videos. Now I'm currently working on a way to get this extended to permanent so that you can keep the videos up there permanently. You don't have to get rid of them, but for now there is a 7-day limit until I get that fixed. So that's it for conferences. There's a couple little final pieces that we need to discuss beforehand before I just say this is done. The first thing is there's a 100 user limit on conferences. So say I want to do a conference with all of my English 7 classes. Well, if I want to do conferences for all of them, the only way that works is, one, I have to link courses. If you need help doing that, let me know and I can help you link your courses. But if the courses are linked, then everybody in those linked courses will be able to see the same things. It's a good way to do your materials, your updates, your conferences, if you're doing the same thing in all those classes. So they have to be linked, otherwise the conferences have to be separate. Okay, so there is a 100 user limit, so you can't exceed that amount. I don't think any of you will, but just keep that in the back of your mind. The second thing is, these conferences are great for doing online teaching. As a matter of fact, a lot of places use something similar to this. The problem is you can't always have the students on at the same time, which is why the videos are good to have around so that they can come back and watch at their leisure. Now, some of you may not want to use this for online teaching. So what could you use it for besides just the online teaching? Well, you could actually do a video office hours. So you could come in and say, hey, what I would like to do is I would like to have anybody who has any questions go ahead and log on between 11:30 and 12 o'clock. I will be on here waiting. I can answer your questions and we can go through stuff. So they can actually hold their papers up to the camera and you can actually walk them through some things. Okay, so you can have video based office hours if you would like, using conferences. Now, I'm not going to tell you how to use this, or you may not use it at all, but I just wanted to show you that that is something you could do. Okay, so that effectively wraps up the conference piece for me. You notice when I ended the session, the student session also ended. That it's gone now. They can also jump into conferences and they can go to completed and they can see all these conferences. Now it says there's no recording available. Again, that will show up. But that pretty much completes conferences. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. I check my email multiple times a day. I try to get back to everybody as fast as I can. But hope you enjoy this feature. I know I'll get a question about Zoom and Google Hangouts. Well, here's my theory on that. Google Hangouts is going to get slammed. Plus, it's a paid subscription that will go away here at the end of the summer. So if this is a feature you like, I would prefer to have something that you can use all the time. So that is one thing with Google Hangouts. The other one is Zoom. Zoom still does use Flash. and I want to show you kind of the problem that we have here with it. To rest assured, I do try everything out. I don't just push things out to people because I say I like this one better and you should use whatever I say. That's not what I do. If you go to add materials and you go down to this file link external tool button, you'll notice that under external tool, so this is a lot more complicated to set up, but I've already set it up for you. Here's a Zoom LTI. You can actually just type in a name, web conference. Doesn't really matter, I got my cap locks on. Hit submit, and Zoom will actually load. You can actually see right here's the web conference. I can click on it, and Zoom is actually configured inside of Schoology right now. I actually have a recording that I tried to do. I can click join meeting, and it clicks up, will prompt me to download this, and this is part of where I think we're having some issues. I click allow, and now I can just go into Zoom, and you notice right here I'm in Zoom. This is my meeting, it's recording, everything's working. Here's where the problem is. If I go over to the student screen and I go to materials, you'll notice there's a web conference button that I created. I go ahead and click on it, and I get an error message. Something happens, which is grammatically not correct, which I know you can slaughter me on my grammar for this video, but that's a little concerning right there. Connect to administrators. That's not a very good error message. It does not tell me anything that's going on. But that's our current problem with Zoom. This is not launching properly inside the web browser. It does not work on the Chromebooks. I have tested it. So that's why I am really, really not suggesting that we use Zoom. I'm going to go ahead and end meeting for all. Notice it's going to start converting, try to download it to my desktop. It's going to do, I mean, Zoom is a nice program. Don't take that the wrong way. Zoom is really, really nice. I really do like it. The problem is it's an extra step that the students will have to go through. It's not going to work the way you want it to work unless you just totally don't do anything with Schoology at all and you do it outside that platform. Again, I'm not going to swear 100% it's going to work on the Chromebooks. There are some issues here, but that's why I'm not recommending Zoom, and I'm really not recommending Google Hangouts right now. But you can use what you use. I'm trying to show you the easiest way to do this that I can come up with. So if you have any questions, like I said, shoot me an email. Thanks. Bye.